Welcome to Let's Talk Nourishment, where we go beyond food and into the habits that truly nourish. I'm Abigail Parker, nutritional therapy practitioner, here to help you simplify wellness. It's been 5 weeks now of living with my parents while our new house is getting renovated. Progress, of course, is going slower than we would like. I'm sure that you've seen the videos on social media where they do the great cutscenes of, oh, here's where we started, and look, here we are finished. And it seems when you're looking at things on social media that time flies by and it happens so fast. And I know that there's that idea of Instagram versus reality, but living it right now is a whole other thing where time definitely moves slow whenever you are trying to do house updates. But we are, I say, pretty well adjusted to living with my parents, all things considered, going from living on our own to now living in a house with other people and not having our usual space. Something that I had struggled with a lot at first was my sleep, though. I don't know if you're like me. Anytime I'm staying the night somewhere else for the first time, definitely I can tell I'm not going to sleep as well. I just have to know that that's going to happen. But it kept continuing to happen where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I was wide awake, that wired but tired feeling. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, luckily, I have been pretty in tune with my body to know there is one thing in particular that really can play a role into how well I sleep, especially waking up wide awake in the middle of the night, and that is carbs. So, I'm sure, have heard of carbs. There are a lot of foods that make up the carbohydrate macronutrient food group. And I know that if I do not eat enough carbs in a day, especially before bed, that I don't sleep great. Now, if you look online, you'll find there are studies that will show the opposite, that you will sleep better if you don't eat very many carbs, which just goes to show that every body is different, which is why I love to help you understand how to eat for your body. Because if I was searching this online and I saw that carbs are bad for your sleep, that essentially you can help yourself sleep better with fewer carbs, I would be wondering, okay, I keep trying this. Why isn't it working? And have you ever been in that situation where you felt like you were doing the right thing based on what you saw online or what a friend told you was working for them, but you're doing it and it's just not working for you? Because everybody is different. So, one of the things that I really love to talk about when it comes to eating is tracking your food. And tracking your food can have a really negative feeling to it. I have had a client come to me saying right off the bat, I don't like to track my food because it makes me aware of what I'm eating and I feel guilty when I actually see how I'm eating, which shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be looking at your food and feeling poorly about yourself. You get to decide what you're eating, and you shouldn't have these negative feelings around food. If you can imagine, you eat and you feel good about the foods that you're eating, it's possible for you. But that's how it is. Whenever we talk about tracking your food, it often brings up feelings of, I am not eating in the way that I want to be. But the way that you want to be is your decision. There's a thing as counting macros, counting calories, or even if you have done Weight Watchers, you know that they like to go off of kind of a good and bad food system as far as assigning points to your foods. But that's not what tracking your food should actually look like. Tracking your food should be going off of how your food is making you feel and making sure that you are feeling your best based on the foods that you're eating. So when I was struggling with my sleep at first after moving in with my parents, I tracked my food for a couple of days because I said, okay, I know that carbs are a problem for me when I'm not sleeping. So, am I eating enough carbs during the day? And sure enough, I wasn't. I was tracking my carbs, paying attention to what foods I was eating, and it wasn't adding up to be enough carbs at the end of the day. I knew. So I've tweaked. I started to pay more attention to eating enough carbs. And sure enough, my sleep has improved, getting back to that restful night of sleep. This is what tracking your food should actually look like, is getting aware of how your food is impacting how you're feeling. In my world, I like to call it doing food and mood journaling as opposed to tracking your food. Because when you're saying I'm tracking my food, what is the reason behind that? Because often, again, it's going to be a negative feeling of you want to make sure that you are eating more good foods than bad foods, or you want to make sure that you are not going over your calories for the day. But it means nothing if you are still fighting your energy all day long, not sleeping. You're still craving sugar every night after dinner. This is what food and mood journaling helps you with, is actually understanding. I had a client in Confident Eating Academy that we were talking about this idea of understanding the right way to eat for your body based on the symptoms your body is giving you. And without even mentioning this idea of tracking your food or food and mood journaling, she brought up, I really would like to write down what I'm eating in a day and how I'm feeling so I can start to make these connections. How powerful to have that idea of food impacting how you're feeling instead of looking at your food as good or bad. Even in the health world, it's very easy to get wrapped up in the idea of, well, I'm going to eat healthy foods, quote unquote, healthy foods, 80% of the time. And 20% of the time, I'm going to indulge and eat things that I know I shouldn't be. Oh, and it drives me crazy even when I see that, because what in the world are we tracking 80% and 20% of the time? What does that mean? That is not how eating should be. Eating should be easy, where you're noticing how food makes you feel depending upon what you're eating each and every day. And so you focus on eating those foods that allow you to feel your best. This is how you get rid of food guilt, truly, is letting go of this idea of good and bad foods and understanding how is it that the food that I'm eating is making me feeling. But we live in a society that is obsessed with counting, especially counting calories. It makes you disconnected from yourself when nobody knows you better than you. So instead of understanding how to give your body what it needs, like knowing, oh, I didn't sleep great last night because I'm not eating enough carbs. I should be more mindful of that. What happens instead is things like you're ignoring your cravings, your body's way of trying to tell you that you're not eating to meet its needs, until it turns into you're binging on ice cream on Friday night. You're having girl dinner, right? Or it can look like you are constantly dealing with the 3 p.m. crash every day. You're tired, but you don't understand that it's the food that you're eating, your daily habits that are leading up to that 3 p.m. sluggishness and brain fog that you're feeling, that it can change based on that. Or you're dealing with bloat all the time and you're just going through trying to figure out different foods that are supposed to help you get rid of bloat instead of actually paying attention to, well, what foods am I eating that might be causing my bloat? That's something we get caught up in, is looking for the quick fix. And the quick fix really isn't easy if you think about it, because the quick fix can look like, I'm going to count my calories so that I can be in a calorie deficit to lose the weight that I'm wanting. But often when you're in that calorie deficit, it's not something that you can maintain and keep up with. So it's not quick in the sense that you're kind of on this roller coaster of up and down, tracking and losing and gaining. A quick fix also can be searching for the right food for you. Often that's going to look like some sort of next new trend. TikTok trends are really big. And it might be that you see some new drink that's come out, because that is something that I see a lot of, is some new drink that is supposed to help you get rid of your cravings. Well, seemingly like a quick fix that as soon as you start drinking it, it helps. But is that really something that you can actually keep up with? Do you want to keep doing that forever in order to not have cravings? Or is it even something that is going to work forever? Is it that you're going to do it for a period of time and it's not something that you can maintain or you want to maintain? And again, now you're back where you started, digging into that pint of ice cream every Friday night. So often the quick fix turns into a long struggle. And I know I've tried the quick fixes. I've tried counting calories. I've tried the willpower game, just telling myself, I don't need it. I'm fine. I don't want it. But does that actually work? Not really, because now you're just fighting yourself. And anytime you're fighting yourself, then it makes you feel poorly about yourself. It makes you want the thing that you're fighting even more. It's like telling a toddler no. If you've done that, you know that now it turns into a game where the toddler is going to come back at you and push harder. Well, your brain does that with yourself as well. So, this idea of trying to track, to do a quick fix, is not a long term, a real solution. So, instead, we look at this idea of food and mood journaling, understanding how your food is actually impacting you. So, you can start to make connections of, when I eat this for lunch, I don't have the afternoon slump anymore. I'm feeling more energized versus sluggish. You notice that whenever you skip breakfast, you have more cravings throughout the day. You feel hungrier throughout the day versus when you do have breakfast. You notice just how different foods are impacting how you're feeling throughout the day, because they do. And that's something that if you're just tracking food, you don't realize all of these pieces that come together. So in Confident Eating Academy, that is a huge part about how you actually build your confidence in eating, is understanding how food is making you feel. Because when you love the way you feel, eating is easy. There's no guilt involved. It doesn't matter if a food is good or bad anymore. It's all about choosing what you want to eat. And sometimes that can be that you want to eat something that you know is not the best food for you, but it brings you joy in the moment to be able to eat it. And that's okay. Instead of this idea of 80% of the time I'm going to eat healthy and 20% I'm going to enjoy my food. You get to just enjoy food. It becomes easy. Now, I mentioned Confident Eating Academy, and enrollment for Confident Eating Academy is quickly approaching, happening October 1st. Before doors open for Confident Eating Academy, though, I am hosting a live workshop. It's kind of like a teaser. If you are interested in learning more about what Confident Eating Academy has to offer and how it can help you, I invite you to register for this workshop. It's called How to Calm Cravings and Stay Consistent Without Another Diet, where I will be going over with you common mistakes that I've seen women making when it comes to trying to stay consistent eating healthy, including mistakes I've made myself, and how you can shift your mindset to make it so that eating healthy is no longer a goal that you have for yourself, but just something that you do, something that comes naturally. Because that's the thing about healthy eating is there is this idea that there is one way that you should eat healthy. And that's not the case. Healthy eating looks different for all of us. Again, everybody is different. So you get to decide what healthy eating looks like for you right now. And the cool thing is that that changes. So your definition of healthy eating right now can be different 6 weeks from now at the end of Confident Eating Academy. It can be different 3 months from now and a year from now, where you're constantly getting better instead of having to get back on track. So that workshop is, again, how to calm cravings and stay consistent without another diet. That happens October 1st at 1 p.m. Central Time. And if you show up live, I am including my exclusive resource on getting rid of cravings for good. It's my cravings cheat sheet for you. But if you can't make it live, that's okay. Still register because you'll get the recording for the workshop after. So if you can't make it, I do want this to be something that you can still learn from if it's something that you're interested in. In order to register for that workshop, you'll visit nourishedrevival.com/specials. And I'll have the link linked. That's such a funny thing to say, in the description for this podcast episode. So you can just go down and click it in order to get registered and save your seat for October 1st. I can't wait to see you then. And in the meantime, remember that tracking food is not about good or bad. It's all about understanding, how does food actually make me feel? Because when you decide to eat the foods that make you feel good, eating is easy like it should be.